Grimdark. Half off! Due to Steam's autumn sale, I recently got my hands on a lot of Lovecraft-related titles that I've been meaning to play for a very long time. Chief among these is The Sinking City, but I think better than that game, it would be good for us to start with the Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker. What I know about this title is that this game puts the player in the role of a psychologist, taking over for the titular Dr. Decker. As a man who spent the last 6 years of his life trying to get a psychology degree with nothing to show for it, and a huge weird fiction fan, I thought I would see how well I fare in this role-playing experience. I'm going to bring my A game, and with each case presented to me, and use real-world educational articles linked in the description to back my findings. After I play, of course, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to go out in the webs, and I'm going to research and give you a bunch of informative articles on everything I was talking about. Hopefully you find this to be an educational and entertaining experience. I've done everything I can to avoid spoilers going in. The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker. Reanimator. Alright. Hopefully you've seen the little audio starting to this, and you know the rules going in. I can't promise you my predictions will be correct, only that I will do my best to base them off of real-world psychology and science. Let's begin a new game. I've avoided spoilers for this the whole time.
The faculty thinks I've gone loopy, like some kind of spongy Mobius strip. That's why I'm here, isn't it, Dr. Decker?
I can see people's dreams.
I've set up an experiment.
My dad is trying to hurt me.
Quantum suicide. Have you heard of it?
If I concentrate hard enough, and I know when the person's going to be asleep, I can have the dream with them.
Well, let's call him God. He creates this world for his amusement, something he can play with and occasionally alter to suit his mood.
It feels like the paintings are watching me.
Sometimes, when I walk through a door, it takes me somewhere else. Literally, somewhere else.
God loves chaos, but something goes wrong. Man and woman evolve. What was once chaotic becomes, well, more ordered.
It starts as a door-to-door saleswoman. Double glazing, probably.
Dr. Decker, I think we both know what you dreamed about last night.
I've seen its silhouette changing through the window.
Because he thinks I'm evil. Because I can see things other people can't.
No, don't call the
basis,
baby evil.
The central component of our universe is chaos. Science can only document a perception of the chaos at any one given moment in time.
I did what you said, Doctor. They arrested me.
Which means that at any given moment, we can choose to alter our perception of the world, no matter how much chaos that would cause.
I thought you were supposed to fix me.
I'm telling you, it's eating people. And you're just laughing.
You're insane, Doctor.
Listen to me! You're not listening!
This is really
It's your
long.
only bloody job!
Okay. Alright, so far I really loved what I was seeing from... Oh.
You're late. And after all those promises, never mind, let's not keep the patience. You're late. And after all those promises. You're late.
You're
and after
late.
all those And after all those promises, never mind.
Okay, what was that? This is basically a movie. I'm trying not to talk over it, but I'm also trying to still provide commentary. Right.
Doctor, you're late. And after all those promises, never mind, let's not keep the patients waiting. And if you want anything, just... Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm not going to be here. The police still have some questions they want to ask about, you know. And then after that, I'm dropping in to see Ben. He's still in shock, and I thought we'd show we cared. We do still care, don't we, Doctor? Good. Anyway, I hope you're all caught up on Dr. Decker's tapes. I think Mariana is in first, but I'm sure they'll all become a blur by the end of the day. I'll see you later. Or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I'll leave it to you then.
All right, so from the red, keep talking to them. Amber, you're done. The continue button appears when all patients are amber. You've asked everything. Your green is optional. Okay. Patient names have... Oh, okay. All right, response tab. Important conversations, optional conversations. Okay. Well, okay, from the starting credits, from the opening cinematic, I know that these people know their Lovecraft and they know their psychology. Because in the case of the man who said that when he looks at a painting, it can take him to another world, he could be describing actual psychosis leading possibly to schizophrenia, or he could also be describing genuinely a Lovecraftian occurrence which has been noted through dreams and artwork. We also see that again, the dreamlands, the idea of dreaming with another person. That is a part of the dreamlands, the dreamlands of unknown Kadath. But of course, that's also can be a shared or, what would you say, a mutual hallucination. Oh, all right. Okay. We have... So I can choose which of these to see. So we go all the way from the top, or we could start with this one. We start with Bryce. Go Bryce. All right. Who are you? Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. Let's get this done. See if I need to do some more research. See what I can do here. I need to refresh my memory on anything. Let's start with Bryce. Who are you?
I'm Bryce Hemmings. You must be the new doctor. Did you know Dr. Decker?
Okay. All right. We can go with no, I didn't know Dr. Decker. No, I didn't know Decker. As far as I know, I didn't know Decker. We want to become personal with our... Not personal, but we want to become familiar with our patients, so it's important to engage them honestly in conversation to the degree that we can. No, I didn't know Dr. Decker.
He was an antagonistic psycho. I hope you're not from the same school of thought.
Acting is wonderful. Okay, moving down. What do you think of Decker? What's your problem? What is your job? What do you think of Decker? Okay, well, he already knows what he thinks of Decker. I mean, what is your notes? What are my notes? Verbal mirroring. Oh, okay. Verbal mirroring. A new study in psychology yesterday suggests... Psychology yesterday, yeah, funny. Psychology yesterday suggests using the same words as your patients increases trust. Use yes or no when answering questions. If my patients seem confused, I've probably asked something they have more than one answer to. To do, say hello to patients and find out what's wrong with them to see what... Okay. To see what you know about them. Okay, all right. And an annotation idea. Blank should follow this up. To do, definitely follow this up. I'll remove... No, okay, all right. Oh, wait, I need my notes. I need my patients. Okay. What is your job?
I'm a grave digger, Doctor. And people are dying quicker than we can bury them.
All right. So he has a lot of familiar... Okay. What did you think of Dr. Decker? Before I ask what's your problem, what did you think of Dr. Decker?
I didn't really like Dr. Decker. And for quite a few reasons, actually. I'd rather talk about my own problems for now, though, if you don't mind.
Absolutely fine. Dr. Decker, what's your problem?
Originally, I was suffering with depression. Work was piling up. I kept missing deadlines. I wasn't used to all the failure. I got depressed.
Okay, work was piling up. He wasn't used to all the deadlines. He got depressed. He was a grave digger, a literal grave digger. So he's not a mortician. Blue-collar worker. Someone who sees a lot of death. This can make someone very nihilistic, of course. He is drinking caffeine. He is a coffee addict. Oh, not necessarily an addict, but caffeine can certainly accelerate depression. Do you drink a lot of coffee?
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay. Well, I'm asking him questions that would relate to it. Why were you depressed?
You'd think being a gravedigger had its perks, but it can be very stressful. There's a trend going towards burial rather than cremation again. And as well as running out of space, we're running out of competent gravediggers. At least ones that can use a shovel, that is. I'm not feeling anywhere near as depressed as I used to, though. Not since I got the extra hour.
Extra hour? What extra hour? Yeah, what extra hour?
At midnight each day. Time as you know it freezes. In my world, it just slows down to almost a stop. But I don't. I'm free to wander around and do as I please. An hour later, normal reality continues. It's my very own midnight hour.
Oh God! Okay, so he's connected more to time travel. I mean, well, not time travel, but generally the bending of space. What do you mean by midnight hour? Why didn't you like Dr. Decker? What do you do in the extra hour? So far, I'm not seeing any of these general symbols pop up. Type your question here or type hint. I could use a hint or I could say responses. Okay. And then we have notes. Okay. Definitely follow this up. And then we have responses. Why are you depressed? Okay. Why are you depressed? Midnight hour was definitely a thing. Okay. What's your problem? Was green. And then what extra hour? What did you mean by midnight hour? Why are you depressed? Okay. What do you mean by midnight hour?
It's a bizarre thing to know you have an extra hour every day. I rarely ever sleep until after midnight now, so I can appreciate the extra time. I get a lot of work done in that time. I'm completely caught up. The depression is no longer an issue. 25 hours is a blessing for me. But apparently, it's not real, and I'm insane for thinking it is. What do you think, Doctor?
Well, my natural thought on this would be, of course, barring the Lovecraftian universe this takes place in, that he is someone who dealt with extreme stress and nihilism, resulting in ultimately a psychosis or break from reality that would then go from that into being what was most likely to him, it possibly might be, an actual state where he's getting more work done faster because he's being more efficient, and he's in this kind of state that's not necessarily, I don't want to say mind over matter, but increased adrenaline can indeed make it seem like the world around you is slowing down. So he could be in a state where he is, let's say, perceiving time to move slower, but is actually in a psychotic state that is putting his own heart at risk, even if he isn't a danger to other people necessarily. I don't think you're insane. Why didn't you like Decker? What is it? And then what do you think of Decker? All right. What extra hour? What do you do in the extra hours, more specifically?
In the extra hour, I mainly catch up with work. It's a godsend. Sometimes I play chess against myself. It relaxes and strengthens the mind all at once.
You see, here's what I want to know. Is the hour longer than an hour?
I don't have anything for you.
I need to. That's what I want to know. I want to know what an hour is to him. Why is it hard to find someone who can use a shovel? Why is it hard to find someone who can use a shovel? Well, yeah, I mean, that's something he mentioned by name. But a lot of these, I'm worried, and possibly because it's a British game and I'm an American, I'm worried that these could be taken as rude. I'm worried these could be taken as insensitive to the patient. And that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to snap on an axiom. An axiom is what we base our worldview on, but it's leftover. It doesn't need to be there. And yes, the end goal is to get rid of the axiom, but you don't want to just smack it because it's really connected to the ego. Yes, smack them in the axioms. What happens is they have a hostile reaction. So I might not want to do that right now. Why didn't you like Decker? I don't think you're insane. Why is it hard to find someone who can use a shovel? I'll have to ask it. I have to ask it. It's one of my only options, and I've tried to ask questions before that would relate to his mental health. Caffeine plays a big role in that. His perception of time plays a big role in that. But why is it hard to find someone who can use a shovel?
Henley Church, where I work, is located on an old Norman motte and bailey. You can't use mechanical diggers or excavators there in case you destroy a relic.
Achievement unlocked, intern. I've unlocked an achievement. Okay. And then we're still with Bryce. I'm not done with Bryce. Everything with Bryce. I'm gonna get through this man. I'm gonna get through to this man. I'm gonna help him. He doesn't seem like, and this is the thing too, he doesn't seem like the most unhealthy person. He seems like someone, well, when I say he doesn't seem like the most unhealthy person, for someone who has the very serious and, say, the specific stresses of his job and what he is generally exposed to. So why didn't you like Dr. Decker? I don't think you're insane. And then we can say, what do you mean by midnight hour? What sort of relics? Tell me about, I don't think you're insane. Sure, I'm going to say I don't think you're insane.
I thought it would be too early to make a diagnosis, but it's good you're having a go anyway.
Oh. Okay. All right. So we can use a shovel. What sort of relics? Think of Dr. Decker. I know I have to follow up on that eventually. What sort of relics?
I stumbled across a relic myself. An ancient chess piece. A queen, I believe. The best chess piece. The most freedom of movement. But they took it away immediately and proclaimed the whole east side of Henley Church a protected site of archaeological importance, which means we're not allowed to use it until the archaeologists have finished. I wish I hadn't told anyone.
Okay. So he frequently says that he plays chess with himself in that hour, and then what happens is he found an ancient chess piece. So that's something that's very much a connection there. So what sort of relics? Why didn't you like Dr. Decker? Tell me about Henley Church. Tell me more about this church, because if it has a connection to anything, because the only queen or queen-like figure is Shub-Niggurath. And Shub-Niggurath, which we have to pronounce that way for reasons, the black goat is someone who is the mother of 1,000 young, etc., etc. So it could be some type of entity or relic connected to Shub-Niggurath. Why didn't you like Decker? Tell me about Henley Church.
Henley Church is relatively small. Well, for the number of bodies they expect us to pack into the ground, it's relatively small. The whole building was once owned by Scientologists, but they handed it back to the community as a tax break, I believe. Or they'd finished doing whatever it was they wanted to do with it.
So Scientologists, or this idea that another religious group was involved there. All right. Very interesting. Okay, and then we still have to do that. If that's, do you believe in Scientology? That's an interesting question. Okay, sure. That's one shot in the dark. Do you believe in Scientology?
I'm not sure I believe in any religion anymore. I used to believe in God, but not anymore. There are too many religions to pick from, don't you think?
All right, so this is very interesting. I'm not necessarily seeing signs of Shub-Niggurath because it's time alteration, and I don't see time alteration often associated with them, except for the acceleration of aging, which happened with... I'm trying... No, never mind. I'm thinking of Yog-Sothoth in the Dunwich Horror. Okay. No, there's not really much associated with Shub-Niggurath and time manipulation. Yes, there are too many... No, there are not too many religions. Oh, okay, so I can be a... I can agree with the patient to make him feel safer, and that is something actually recommended to me by this game. But the neutral answer, the professional answer, would be a neutral kind of perhaps, or something that wouldn't lean too much one way or the other. You wouldn't want to lean in too much to making the patient feel like you're confronting them, and you wouldn't want to lean too much into that. But this specific game sort of says, yes, there are too many religions would be a good choice because that's in line with the tips. Why do you? Yes, there are too many religions.
Then we agree. Have you watched Zeitgeist, Doctor? Some of it is believable, and the part about most religions stemming from the same basic facts. It's more likely they've all got it wrong than one of them has got it right.
Okay. No. I like this. I like this. All right. Why didn't you like Dr. Decker?
Dr. Decker would say one thing and do another. He would push me to do things I didn't want to do. He was getting worse towards the end. I'm surprised he didn't kill himself.
Very interesting. Do we have any questions left for Bryce? Okay. Do you know anything about Decker's murder? Do you like chess? Of course he likes chess. We've already gone over this. But do you like chess? And then, of course, we're going to do we have the option to engage him in a chess game? That would be very interesting. It doesn't seem like that kind of game, but it would be interesting if that was a mechanic.
I like chess. I still play sometimes when I can find an opponent. There's nothing more satisfying than planning scores of moves in advance and then watching things unfold as you saw them. I shouldn't have told anyone about the Queen.
So a brief note, he would hate me in real life as a chess player because I'm a chaotic player and I usually adapt to my opponent's strategy as it's unfolding and try to find chinks in it. I don't necessarily play with a predetermined strategy. I play to troll my opponent, but it's also because it's naturally how my mind works and adapts to situations. It's how I'm talking right now. Do you know anything about Decker's murder? Chess was the first ever game I learned how to play. Do you know anything about Decker's murder? Why do you like planning moves in advance? Yes, okay. Well, actually, so I want to briefly go into neuromorphology. There's a great YouTube channel called Objective Personality, which goes into the Myers-Briggs typing system as an actual adult aspect of psychology. And this man actually does, this actor actually has the morphology of someone who would be typecast as an introvert and would be by their facial features. And this is not a huge overlap or anything, but this is something that can be done pretty well with physical features. This man most likely has an introverted, and I would say an introverted judging personality. An IXXJ personality type is what that would be on paper. So what does that mean? It means that there's someone with a highly ordered mind, highly introverted, probably an INTJ, the architect, someone who likes to plan out their moves in advance. Why do you like planning out your moves in advance? And what that would mean would be that they would have probably an aversion to being physically touched while they're in deep thought. You poke them in the face, it would annoy them more than any other group. It's not important. Why do you like planning moves in advance?
I do like to be in control, but then I suppose most people do. Nobody wants life to carry them along helplessly. Everyone wants to kick against it and make their own way. Do you like to be in control, Doctor?
I guess I get to make up my own action there. So Bryce. No, I don't like to be in control. But this could be a tough one. It's definitely good to agree with your patients to make them feel more safe, in accordance with this game, not in accordance with what I would say. I would say neutral answers. You want to be, in many ways, there is that very basic talking method. You want to be, in many ways, a canvas for your patients to express themselves. You don't necessarily want to bring your own views into it. I've seen this. I've seen that. Remain neutral. Do you know anything about Decker's murder? Yes, I like to be in control. No, I don't like to be in control. I'm going to say that I like to be in control, to agree with him, because that's the way of the game. My instincts tell me, no, I don't like to be in control. That would be my personal answer. But the yes is the closest thing the game gives me to the neutral professional answer, which is what I would be trying to do if someone came to me for help. Yes, I like to be in control.
If you like being in control, you'll have a tough time here. I saw it with Dr. Decker. Such control, such stability. But he unraveled at the end.
So this implies that all of these English patients, and it is implied that we are in the UK, that all of these people are suffering from what would effectively be a conglomeration of Lovecraftian things, which would be interesting to me. How did Dr. Decker unravel?
He couldn't keep control of everything, of everyone. He just set us up like dominoes, but we all toppled in unexpected ways. You'll find it all out in time, Doctor. Just not today. Can't have your head exploding, can we?
I love that. It had a little bit in common with Darth Marenghi's Dark Place. Garth Marenghi, blah blah blah. That's what that brought about to me. Do you know anything about Decker's murder? This is the last question here.
Yes, Dr. Decker was murdered. Quelle surprise. Murder does seem a bit harsh, doesn't it? And another grave to dig. I know as much about it as you do. Less, I would imagine.
Okay, are we Yeah. Perhaps you should ask someone else a question. Okay. All right. So now that we're done with Bryce, let's move on to Claire. And I just want to go with these in the way they are presented to me. Bryce was up here. We're going to go Claire, Ellen, Mariana, and Nathan. Claire. Who are you? Why are you here? Please introduce yourself.
My name is Claire Castleford, and as I'm paying a small fortune for these sessions, I'd expect you to be up to speed, Doctor.
Well, to be fair, that's one of the main criticisms of psychology, and that's that it's a racket. It's just there to get you to come back. And for someone who doesn't trust it right off the bat, it can be hard for therapy to work. But the goal is really to, ironically, get them to come back, talk about their problems more. That's how you get in there where you can suggest them to actual therapists. Why are you paying a small fortune?
Being rich has its perks, but honestly, I would give it all up in a heartbeat if it could free me from this madness.
Okay, all right. She's very wealthy. She's a very wealthy patient. Why are you here?
Well, according to your predecessor, I'm a delusional psychotic with obsessive tendencies. Oh, and a history of violence. Sounds so cold when you put it like that, though, doesn't it?
Well, she sounds like a keeper. But tell me about your obsessive tendencies. What history of violence? Tell me about your delusions. All right, let me go to my responses. Why are you here? Are you paying a small fortune? Etc., etc. Bryce. Bryce, why didn't you like Dr. Decker? Okay. Who are you? Why are you here? All right, so why are you here all right. Tell me about your obsessive tendencies.
I'm obsessed with my husband. It's absurd, really.
Well, it's not. You're married. Why is it absurd?
Because he is here. And he shouldn't be.
Oh. That kind of obsessed. Why shouldn't your husband be here?
He's lucky to be alive. He almost died.
How did he almost die?
My husband is not a well man. We've been having problems for a while now.
But this is very quick. Why isn't he a well man?
His health, if you can call it that, has been deteriorating rapidly in the last few weeks. I can't cope with caring for him anymore.
Okay, can't cope with caring. Okay, so that's a very real thing. When you say his health deteriorated, I'm going to go ahead and guess that's mental health. I'm going to go ahead and guess maybe it's an older man. She married above her age. This is an Alzheimer's patient, perhaps, or someone starting to deteriorate. But also, we're in a Lovecraftian universe. Talking about someone who could genuinely be suffering from madness, or the kind of madness brought on by dealing with eldritch forces. How has his health deteriorated?
Since our altercation, he's become less and less active. His mind's become less and less active too. Such a delightful conversationalist at one time, now more of an enigmatic husk.
Enigmatic husk. All right. Tell me about what is your history of violence? And I want to follow it up with the altercation, but before that, I need to know her history of violence.
To be fair, there was only one violent outburst. That hardly qualifies as a history of violence. And he provoked me.
He provoked me. So, good. Very much her husband. Tell me about, what did you mean by altercation?
I tried to hurt David once. That's why I'm here, isn't it? I'm not proud of my behavior, but I was very angry. It was a private matter, though. The police should never have been involved.
No, but I need to know how you tried to hurt your husband. Tell me about the violent outburst.
I stabbed him with a steak knife.
Stabbed him with a steak knife. Okay.
Shocking, isn't it?
Okay, stabbing often relates to sexual tension. Tell me about caring for him.
David has trouble looking after himself. Sometimes I'll leave the lake house and he's just sitting in the rocking chair on the porch. And when I return the next evening, he's still there, just staring into the stars. He needs help, I know, but I can't hire anybody to care for him.
Okay, psychotic means separation from reality. Stabbing implies sexual tension in terms of, okay, why do you often get angry?
I never used to get angry. Ever. If you're angry, you're not in control. Isn't that right? And it would be very bad for me to lose control.
Okay. Why is bad to lose control? Why, I'm speaking in meme apparently. Why is bad to lose hamburger?
Let's save that for another time, shall we? I'm rich, but I'm not made of money, and I'm fairly sure my time is up.
Oh. Really? So, can I ask her more questions? What's the, Alright, because, look, what I'm getting so far, fundamentally, is that this is the first patient that I've really seen. Though her husband may be affected by eldritch forces, I'm not exactly the biggest Freudian guy myself, obviously. I mean, I have my own diatribes on that. But I will say, when it comes to this situation, everything that I've analyzed from the FBI, from studying psychology, would tell me that this woman is experiencing a failed sex life in her marriage, blames her husband for forcing her to take care of him. Probably she was very wealthy, or rather she is very wealthy. Is she wealthy because she married into it? If she married into what she viewed as a high-value partner and what she viewed as a very specific way of life, and she became very used to that pattern of behavior, that pattern of behavior being taken out of balance, the only person she has to take that out on is her husband. The death of the sex life comes with, of course, being mentally ill. He stares out into the sunrise, sunset. He's not exactly up. And that would lead to the specific stabbing. So, like, if it was burning, for example, it would be basically a purifier, the idea that he represents filth and worthlessness. And that's what I was kind of expecting. I was expecting a burning, but stabbing is often by the FBI related to sexual tension. So that's my thing personally. I'm thinking that death of the sex life plus resentment plus extreme loss of freedom due to having to care for the person who's also responsible for that continued miscomfort despite being wealthy. She feels very trapped, and she's looking to take that out on someone. That's the source of her anger, in my opinion. What's the lake house? Why did you stab him?
It was a brief moment of temporary insanity. Or temporary clarity, I'm not really sure which. David had been having an affair with his assistant optician, Iris.
Ah.
How predictable.
There's the sex.
Not just the affair, but an optician named Iris.
Okay, what's the lake house?
David's staying at the lake house. It belonged to my parents, but I don't use it much anymore. I have the main house to myself.
Okay. How did he almost die? About your delusions.
Delusions? As in seeing things that are not there. I'm not going to be any more specific.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true in any case. I'm not delusional.
All right, so she tried to stab him after he had an affair, so there's the sexual tension. It wasn't the death of a sex life, it was him taking this. I was very close. It was him taking the sex life away from her. Okay, so that's definitely okay. Tell me about Decker.
The most shocking thing about Dr. Decker's death is that it didn't bring it upon himself. But then I hadn't known him for a very long time. Perhaps I was wrong about him.
Okay. Who is David? Why were the police involved? Do you think Decker was suicidal? Why were the police involved? Who is David?
Keep up, Doctor. David is my husband.
Okay, all right. That question was there. Why were the police involved?
The police seem to think I'm dangerous. I'm only sitting here talking to you because I have a lot of money. Otherwise, there's no doubt I'd be thrown into prison for a very long time. That's why I need your help, Doctor.
I can't remember where exactly she tried to stab him, because that doesn't have much... Because obviously you're already stabbing. There's already a method of murder committed. It doesn't necessarily matter where the stab was, but it would add something more to the profile. Why do the police think you're dangerous?
I assume they think I'm dangerous because I stabbed my husband.
Okay. Why aren't you in prison?
I suppose after what I did, there are people that might think I belonged in prison. What do you think, Doctor? Can I be saved with therapy, or should I be locked up like a dangerous criminal?
Well, you have issues that are very clearly able to... You can be saved with therapy, very easily, actually. Well, not very easily, but the actual complexities of... And this is why, by the way, never became a practicing one. I kind of suck at trying to communicate how my mind is working, the mechanical nature of the therapy out, and then how long it actually takes for the person to humbly admit they need help and then go on a very long, multiple-year path to a better mentality, a better mental state. So there's one of my weaknesses on display for you. But generally speaking, it's not hard for a person with this kind of profile to get away. But really the first step is that David needs to... And this is the other thing, too, how rich she is. If that money doesn't come from her, it's going to be really rough. But after... I mean, our sessions need to continue, obviously. But when it is possible, she needs to leave David with people who can care for him. And if she does have certain wealth advantages and no longer needs those wealth advantages, at that time she has to give up the wealth, give up the man, and move on. Because generally speaking, this will forever be a source of psychosis for her. This will encourage her pain. She also needs to get a productive, and what would be very good for her would be a productive daily job. I mean, very good for her. I mean, you're talking about something that would take her mind off of it, give her a feeling of accomplishment. I mean, I'm kind of, if you know my social views, I'm the last person to recommend she become a career woman, but in this case, yeah, absolutely. You can be saved with therapy.
You have a lot of faith in your abilities. That's good. I look forward to being completely cured.
I do have a lot of faith in my abilities. I'm incredibly arrogant. Do you think Decker was suicidal?
Dr. Decker just had that look about him. You know what they say about us crazies. Takes one to know one.
Okay. All right, so perhaps you should ask someone else questions. All right, let's head over to Ellen. Ellen. What we doing, Ellen? All right, Ellen. Okay, gonna help you out, Ellen. Who are you, Ellen? I know you're Ellen, but who are you?
I'm Elin. I'm 25 and I'm a nurse. God, I sound like I'm on one of those dating shows.
Oh. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I know. Remove so-and-so when done. Sorry for writing in your notes. Say hello to Eileen for me, and let her know that Terry called for her. JXX. Verbal mirroring, a new study in psychology yesterday. Look at the pun. All right. Psychology today, it's psychology yesterday. All right. You mentioned dating. What type of nurse are you? I got a note that Terry called.
Terry's one of the other nurses at the home. I don't think she likes me very much.
Oh. What problem are you here for? Yeah, sure. What problem are you here for?
I started seeing Dr. Decker a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be nice to have someone I could talk to about work. It can get a bit stressful sometimes.
All right. And dating, so this is someone who I'm already getting stalker vibes from, but you mentioned dating. This was clearly on her mind. Generally speaking, if this is someone, and you see that she's in this little, it might show up again, but she's playing with this locket. She's keeping her locket very close to her. And I'm trying to see if there are going to be any questions about that, because I think that plays a vital role. It most likely belongs to someone close to her, or it contains something that reminds her. It's one of those things that locks open, so it's I don't know. You mentioned dating?
I'm not really looking for love at the moment. I'm sort of married to my work, but in a good way.
Okay. And she has the opposite problem of the last lady. What type of nurse are you? What type of nurse are you?
I work in a nursing home for the elderly. I basically do end-of-life care.
So again, we have multiple people. So all of these people so far are associated with death. Bryce is a gravedigger. Claire is someone who tried to stab her husband, injure her husband. Effectively, it was a form of it was an attempted murder. Elaine. I am Elaine. Elaine was someone here who deals with nursing home people close to death. What's end of life care?
The usual things. Making sure the patients are comfortable, making sure they're not in any pain, and I talk to them. I keep them company. Some of them get pretty frightened about what's coming. Well, those of them that aren't out of it on meds. I comfort them.
Okay. Why are your patients frightened? Why are some patients out of it on meds? Why does it get stressful sometimes? Why are your patients frightened? Well, actually, let me go responses. What is end-of-life care? Why are your patients frightened?
Death is frightening, isn't it?
Meh.
Isn't it what everyone's afraid of?
Not really.
The great unknown.
That's just you.
No one should have to face that alone.
All right. Obviously, I wouldn't say that to a patient. Well, why would you, okay. Patients, so fear of death. And that fear of death is also, again, something we see, not directly, but definitely tangentially related to our other two as well. What are some patients... So this is generally a theme. We can develop here a theme of the game. Why are some patients out of it on meds?
I don't like it when patients are heavily sedated, especially when there are alternatives, like herbal remedies. I mean, imagine if you only had a few days or weeks left to live. Would you want to spend it asleep?
Depends. Anyway. Yes, I'd like to sleep through it. No, I wouldn't like... Again, this is mirroring your patients is the way to make them feel safe. So this is what we're doing. And it says a new study. Now, personally, this is something, if you asked me, I'd say remain neutral. Where you should mirror is body language. This is actually something not just that that psychologists will do, but this is actually something that people skilled in self-defense will do, and something that self-defense coaches will actually teach you if you're being attacked or if you're trying to calm someone down. The best thing you can do first is stand next to them instead of opposing them, instead of against them, and no more do not display yourself as an adversary. 2, mimic their body language. So I would mimic this one's body language but remain neutral. My goal is to get her into a calmer, more analytical, emotional state where she herself can more objectively examine the situation. So turn her into her own detective, and that definitely goes for Bryce, Claire, and Ellen here too. I obviously am here as the third party, but you need to be able to create responsible... Your goal is to send responsible people back out into the world when they come to you, and then they recommend you more patients, and then you make money, and then you help people, and then you get money, and that's what it's supposed to be. Anyway, all right, Ellen. No, I wouldn't want to sleep through it. I agree with you, but in accordance with the rules of this game.
Exactly. I feel like it's almost criminal, like you're robbing people of their last moments on Earth. You should be able to savor the experience, not sleep your way to death.
All right. Why should people savor dying? You mentioned herbal remedies. Why does it get stressful sometimes? I'll come back to these other 2 questions.
It can be sad sometimes. I don't like losing a patient, But that's the job. I don't get stressed about it or anything.
No, you're just horribly neurotic and worried about dying alone because you're obsessed with dating right now, but you're too scared to actually do it. You're too scared to actually do it because you are obsessed with death, and death is continuously knocking at your door, and you're scared of winding up just like the people she's... Again, it writes itself. It does. Or rather, I should say, these people have written a very lovely game. Why should people savor dying? You mentioned herbal remedies.
I'm a qualified herbalist. It's okay, you can laugh. Most people think herbalism is a joke. But I'd much rather help my patients sleep at night with valerian or passion flower than lorazepam, temazepam, or zolpidem.
I can respect an alternative remedy. It's not to say that, on this issue, it's not to say that an herbal remedy would necessarily be better than a pharmaceutical one. Technically, a pharmaceutical one is an herbal one. It's within a straight line. One is just more distilled than another. And if that is your worry, that too many compounds have been mixed, and no matter what testing has been done, especially if you're already on another medication, and this is a big problem with big pharma today, no matter how dangerous a medication is, you whine and dine a doctor, they'll push it on you. My own father had to deal with this when he developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, from what was most likely a medication that he was taking for another problem mixed with blood thinners, which ultimately caused a very serious issue for him, and he wasn't really able to sue for it because, well, it's definitely a real thing. It's definitely an issue that people have. If they feel like an herbal remedy can solve it, then, absolutely, I recommend trying that. But obviously, I'm not a medical doctor, so fuck me. Why should people savor dying?
I'm not saying anyone should be happy about dying. I've seen lots of people die, and it's a special moment. There's literally nothing else like it.
Okay. Oh, wait, there's nothing else like it. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Let's fetishize death. All right, and now she's in love with death. Well, this is my good friend Nyarlathotep, the trickster of the Cthulhu universe, or at least that's how he's represented in Call of Cthulhu settings. Probably Nyarlathotep is probably one of my favorite entities in the Lovecraft universe, as he's represented in Call of Cthulhu's game settings, because he has a lot of these lol moments. There's a lot of troll moments. Anyway, are you lying about being stressed? All right, are you lying about being stressed?
It's not the job that stresses me. It's the people I work with, the other nurses. They're mean to me.
Okay, she's sort of in love with death. We got this layer here, the mascara, the dark eyelashes. It's almost like she's sort of made to look a little more ghoulish. And actually, ghouls, as Lovecraft depicts them, is what Bryce makes me think of a lot, because he's a grave digger and he talks about an extra hour being extended. That's the other thing that makes me think of Lovecraft situations here, because there's actually, it's somewhat of a heartwarming story that Lovecraft tells, and I can never remember the name of it, but basically a fellow is in a tower or an underground crypt, and he has, he's slowly, it looks like, he's just the usual Lovecraft protagonist. He's slowly moving his way through the crypt to get out, and he's slowly going mad as he does it. Except when he gets out, he realizes something. He's a ghoul, and he's no longer scared of the ghouls outside the crypt. And he goes into the night and he parties with the ghouls. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, even in that show, Supernatural, ghouls were still like, why are you hunting ghouls? They eat like dead people. Like, bruh. Anyway, it's like attacking wood elves in Elder Scrolls. Anyway, how are other nurses mean?
They call me the Angel of Death.
Okay.
Because so many patients have died on my shift.
Oh, no.
I don't think they mean it.
Oh.
Obviously, it's not my fault. It just seems to happen that way.
So this is a real thing, and I'm terribly sorry that I don't remember the name of it, because you were advertised this video based on a former psychology student plays. Thankfully, it's not a psychologist plays. But this is a real attitude that a lot of people caring for the elderly and caring for people who are terminal patients have, where they get a sense of control, empowerment, that's on the subconscious level, but cognitively, they mask it as a kind of false empathy. This is the crazy your parents, if they loved you, warned you not to stick your dick in. This isn't good. How many patients have died on your shift?
3 last month. 3 the month before that, I think. But only 1 so far this month, so that's good. Although one of my patients, Hilda, I don't think she's got long.
Okay, so just to be clear, just briefly. Now, Claire is arguably less dangerous because Claire has issues I can help her with, and she is not hot. Aline here, very dangerous. She has plausible deniability in terms of the criminal aspects of her behavior, which are most likely killing people who are terminal. In addition to that, she is a bit love drunk and has the potential to become a Black Widow killer if let loose on the men of this world. Who is Hilda?
She's one of the crotchety ones. Always swearing and spitting at me. Never got anything nice to say. Thinks we're going to smother her in her sleep or something. She doesn't bother me, though.
No, I'm sure she thinks that, my friend. I'm sure she's the one thinking that. I'm sure that's not a clear case of psychological projection. Tell me about Decker.
I've known a lot of doctors over the years. Most of them arrogant idiots who think nurses are just there to do their bidding.
To be fair, that would be me if I ever...
Dr. Decker was different. He had a lot of time for me. He was interested in my problems.
The pupils widen when you see something you love. Yeah, okay, so she was infatuated with Dr. Decker, and Dr. Decker, as it seems, was increasingly corrupt. But anyway, do you like Decker?
He was a bit offbeat, but yeah, I liked him.
Yeah.
But then I like most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you like them. That's why, and that's how they cognitively justify it. The logical gymnastics they go through really are, oh no, I love them. That's why I have to kill them. How long had you been seeing Dr. Decker? Too many people focus on sociopaths and psychopaths and think that that's the end-all be-all of psychology. I guarantee you, we haven't found one sociopath yet, okay? How long had you been seeing Dr. Decker?
I'd been seeing him for about 9 months, I think.
Okay. What do you know about Dr. Decker's murder?
I think it's terrible what happened to him. So awful. No one deserves to die like that.
All right. Perhaps you should... Okay. And now we're going to Mariana. Oh, this poor girl. That's my first thought upon seeing her. Do you know anything about the... Oh, dear. Oh, no. Hello.
I'm Mariana. Are you feeling okay?
Oh, am I slowly going mad as I'm asking these questions? Do you know anything about the... Oh, come on. Why are you here? There we go.
I think you're supposed to tell me what's wrong with me. Isn't that how it works? The police keep picking me up for public nudity.
Ah, well, you're a voyeur there. Okay, well, there we go. Why have you been picked up for public nudity?
I black out. And then the next thing I remember, I'm naked on the beach. Like I've been washed up on shore. Nobody's pressed charges yet, but I can feel it. The police are getting suspicious.
All right, so dissociative identity disorder a little bit. All right, Mariana has blackouts. Does she remember anything during, sustain any injuries? Yeah, no, that's a big deal. But I'm thinking already dissociative identity disorder, otherwise previously known as multiple personality disorder. This is what I'm already thinking. Yes, I'm feeling it. Do you often black out?
I do suffer from blackouts, which is strange, as I can hold my breath for a really long time.
Oh, she's a Cthulhu necklace.
But I'm not swimming before I black out. Dr. Decker thought it was anxiety originally. Then he worked it out.
What did he work out? What did he work out? Yeah.
He eventually decided it wasn't anxiety, but I'm not going to tell you his final diagnosis. We should have a fresh start. I don't want you influenced by the prognosis.
I think that I should be influenced by the prognosis, ma'am. Do you know anything about the murder? Yes, I'm feeling okay. No, I'm not feeling okay. Do you suffer with anxiety?
Dr. Decker thought I had generalized anxiety disorder. GAD? Because of the blackouts. He thought I was breathing badly. Do you think I'm breathing badly?
Yeah, because you want my attention drawn to your chest, because we know you're a voyeur who already seeks attention through sexuality. Okay. Your breathing seems normal, but I think you're breathing normal, yes.
You can check my breathing if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to lie down? Can you tell just by looking at me? I'm not worried about it, just if you are.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. All right. Look. If you were a lean, maybe. All right. Maybe holding your breath makes you black out. Tell me about the beach. Tell me about the beach.
I work for myself. I make bracelets from things I find on the beach and sell them online. I spend a lot of time at the beach. It's just way more relaxing than anywhere else. You should come with me one day. I can show you all of the sights.
I knew a girl like this in real life. I really did. Good Lord. Okay. All right. All right. I kind of want a menu. Can I? Oh no, I can't. Act progress 77%. Can I save? I can't. I can only continue. I can only continue? Does it automatically save? What's going on? Keep asking questions. 10 responses. What do they mean? New game, help, options. How do I save? Show subtitles, playback only, sepia on, full screen. I'm on. Oh, they didn't know that there was a difficulty. Okay, so apparently I'm on normal. Background volume. Okay, I guess I'm continuing. I don't feel all that great. I'm gonna go back, and I am going to. Well, no, I'm not gonna go back. I'm gonna go get some tea and refresh my mind a bit, and I am gonna come back to this a little bit later. I'm gonna come back to this just a little bit later. I am back. I am back. All right. This is the first. Okay. All right. Maybe holding your breath makes you black out. What prognosis are you looking for? What prognosis are you looking for? Oh, that's actually a solid one. But again, that's accusatory. I would avoid doing accusatory, but again, it can be taken accusatorily. But what prognosis are you looking for? Actually, before that, maybe holding your breath makes you black out.
I'm not sure holding my breath too long is causing blackouts. I mean, it could, but I don't remember ever having a blackout when I'm holding my breath.
Let's go with responses. Blackout. I see. Okay. What are you doing before you black out? Because again, that could be a mental trigger for dissociative identity disorder. And also, she has the Cthulhu necklace. And also, it's very possible in this universe that she is being called to Cthulhu to more or less become a cultist. What are you doing before your blackout?
I normally black out when I'm dancing. I like dancing. Do you like dancing?
Okay, so literally you're describing a ritualistic behavior that usually follows that. Okay, so that's yeah, no, you're literally describing not just a trigger, but a ritual. Oh God, they're really hoping you have a foot fetish. Okay, but no, I don't like dancing. Where do you dance? Yeah, where do you dance?
I dance a lot at nightclubs. I know most of the nightclubs around here. My favorite is the Pearl because they sell cheap vodka shots all night.
Okay. Now, on one hand, okay, going into the fact that, one, She goes to specific type of place. She goes to a specific type of place. She does a very specific activity, then holds her breath, then blacks out. So we're talking about 4 stages. She's easing into this, and it leans heavily into dissociative identity disorder. Maybe dancing causes your blackouts. Maybe, do you drink? This is a very big thing. Maybe alcohol causes your blackouts?
I don't drink.
Okay. All right, so it is ritualistic behavior. It's pure ritualistic behavior. It's not even an extra chemical. Maybe dancing causes your blackouts.
You think my dancing causes my blackouts? No, I know it's the last thing I remember, but I don't think it's that. Sometimes I remember more, but I'm tired now. Is that it for today?
It's a series of ritualistic behaviors. It really is. Yes, I like dancing. I'll agree with her to make her feel safe.
Cool. I dance to anything with a beat.
Yes, anything rhythmic that can take you out of your body, that can engage you in psychosis or schizophrenia. Do you know anything about the murder? Yes, I'm feeling okay. No, I'm not feeling okay. Yes, I'm feeling okay. Or do you know anything about the murder? What prognosis are you looking for? Yes, I'm feeling okay.
That's what Dr. Decker would say.
All right, she liked Dr. Decker. Okay. Get an idea, she likes every guy she meets. What prognosis are you looking for?
I want to stop having the blackouts. I want to stop waking up at the beach. I want to remember those entire evenings. Can you suggest anything that might help?
All right, so she wants control over her life, and she's showing a serious willingness to get better. Okay, that's good. That almost makes me feel bad for teasing her in my head. What you know? What you know? Do you know anything about the murder? Have you tried to film your blackouts?
I film myself doing lots of things, but it's not so easy to do when you're blacked out.
All right, so she very casually mentioned she okay. Perhaps Mariana should stop going to the beach or have somebody watch or record her. She has blackouts. Does she do okay? Can someone watch you when you black out?
Will you do it for me? Will you watch me to see what happens?
Will you give me attention and validation? Not something you want tied to a professional. What I want tied to me, if I'm a professional in this position, is solely her willingness to improve her own life. In her case, it is exercising more control over her own behavior. Again, and when I say I knew a girl like this is literally like from walking around barefoot everywhere in almost a very similar fashion to this, as well as talking about dissociative identity disorder and literally her being diagnosed with it. I knew a woman exactly like this. Stalked me relentlessly. Do you know anything about the murder? Okay, yes, I'll watch you.
So, it's a date then? I'll let you know when.
I'm taking advantage of my patience. This is great. This is wonderful. I'm very professional, aren't I? Do you know anything about the murder?
Well, that's why you're here, isn't it? You've replaced him. He was a good listener. I hope you are.
All right, and I assume after this... Why was he a good listener?
Dr. Decker could really get inside you.
Oh, no.
It was, unsettling. But you let him do it. Part of the process, I guess.
He was a yith. All right. Are you flirting with me? Do you think people will press charges? Do you find your clothes... Wow, this is a lot more, actually. Mariana. So Mariana is still here. Why do you keep going to the beach? Why do you keep going to the beach?
I love the beach. Until somebody tells me it's going to kill me, I'll keep going. Have you ever been addicted to something, Doctor?
Well, addictive personalities are common in high intuitives, which fundamentally make up the majority of the field of psychology, so yeah, probably. Responses. Responses. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Where do you dance? Hold your breath so much. Hair wet when you wake. Ooh, is your hair wet when you wake up?
When I wake up, my hair is dry, but it's pretty hot at the moment. I get baked quickly by the sun. It's possible I've been in the sea during my blackout.
She's a deep one. All right. she's a deep one. All right, but again, Dagon could be, because the octopus necklace had a Cthulhu mindset to me, but if she has dissociative identity disorder, tying that into the Lovecraftian mythos of deep ones. So if you don't know how deep ones work in the Cthulhu mythos, basically you're a normal dude until in your 30s or 40s you start growing gills. And you start having this odd complexion about you, and you start bloating, and you start slowly turning into this kind of Dagon descendant, Dagon being a giant fish entity, creature. For more information, please see the YouTube channel Ephemeral Rift. Ephemeral Rift and Dave the Deep One. Dave the Deep One and Ephemeral Rift, which is a series on Ephemeral Rift, Dave the Deep One. Are you flirting with me? Do you think people will press charges?
I guess people see me and call the police. But someone will take offense eventually, and I'll be charged with indecent exposure.
Yep. Yes, they will. You ever find your clothes after you black out? Do you ever find your clothes after you black out?
I never find my clothes. I don't know why I'm naked.
Okay, so I'm thinking she goes into the sea, she either physically transforms and becomes something, or she loses her clothes. Well, again, indecent exposure. She doesn't know why she's naked, generally speaking. But then again, she also hasn't been caught. And so if she hasn't been caught, she gets naked. She says she could possibly be in the ocean. Hair dries quickly. She dries quickly in the sun. All of this is leading to a partial deep one bloodline diagnosis from me. Okay? Mariana's been through a lot. I wonder how all of this makes her feel. How does all this make you feel? That's the most cliche question, but it's a very good one.
Like you're not listening.
Oh. Okay. Are you flirting with me?
Wow. Let's get straight to it then. I'm not sure I feel comfortable speaking with you about that at the moment.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I am dead. Oh, I am dead. Hair wet when you wake up. Okay. How long have you been a patient? How do you hold your breath so much?
I hold my breath when I'm swimming underwater. Most people do. Sometimes, if I'm really excited, I'll hold my breath accidentally, just for a few seconds. I don't know why.
See, she's wearing a choker too, where gills would be, and all of this leads to a partial deep one, and she's a voyeur deep one with dissociative identity disorder. Tell me about Decker. I mean, don't get me wrong, this would be a great Call of Cthulhu character. Tell me about Decker, and she's not a voyeur. Voyeur is a wrong term. Voyeur is somebody who likes to have sex in public. She's a nudist. She's a nudist deep one with dissociative identity disorder. Okay, so she's not flirting, but she does strike me as someone who's no. Generally speaking, when we apply the Lovecraftian context, she isn't applying sex for attention. She films herself doing all sorts of things. Let's take the sexual context out of that. I'm thrown off because the past two patients had sexual context to them. What if she films herself doing all sorts of things and those are rituals? How long have you been a patient?
I've been a patient here for 3 months. Today is my patient birthday. Do I get a cake or something?
Well, your birthday would be in a year. But how long have you been a patient? Yes, you can have a cake. No, you don't get a cake. No, I've never been addicted. Oh, right. Okay, so this is, have you ever been addicted to something? Yes, I've been addicted. I'll say I've been addicted.
I thought so when I first saw you. We should get on great.
Okay. Yes, you can have a cake.
That is so sweet. Thank you, Doctor.
All right, good. In this case, she looks like she's giving you the friend zone eyes. I'm A-okay with that. If she's friend zoning the doctor, that's a very good thing for my profession, and it's a very good thing for a lack of lawsuit. That's a great thing. Okay. Tell me about Decker.
Dr. Decker was fine. He had good relationships with his patients, as far as I know. I'm not sure why anyone would want him dead.
Achievement unlocked century. Okay. All right, so we're moving on to the last patient, Nathan. Oh, dear Nathan. What do we do with you, my dear friend, who looks a bit like Neil Gaiman crossed with that guy who played Doctor Who when he dressed like a flamboyant homeless person? What's wrong with you? Tell me about yourself.
I'm Nathan Peel. I'm a supermarket worker from, well, hell, really.
Okay. And what's wrong with you?
It's like those montages you get in movies. Time passes, you wake up, shave, if you feel like it, shower, get dressed. What's the point? You get this day over and over. Nothing changes. Am I in purgatory, Doctor?
All right, he's the most relatively normal one. He's asking basic questions that I think any person in a working class situation would ask. Or not just a working class, but anyone in a what they feel would be what a mundane life would ask. He's suffering from a kind of malaise. All right. Why purgatory? And he's somewhat nihilistic because of this. So far, that's what I'm getting. Let's see if there are more layers with the writing of the past 4 characters. I absolutely think there are. My apologies if this was advertised to you as a psychology video and you walked into this and what you got was a bunch of Lovecraft lore. I apologize for that. Why purgatory?
Because I'm stuck between this day and the next. Most of the time, anyway.
Now, that is a serious case of depression. Depression really can be described as when you dredge the next day, when you cannot stand the next day. You know, I definitely know about that firsthand as a kid. Going to school, it's almost like you would have this superstition of wanting to stay up late at night under this belief that in the future, the next day just wouldn't come. You know, it's a superstition, irrational superstition that you can just stay in between the two worlds, desperately try to run out the clock so you never have to deal with the next day. Why does nothing change?
Sometimes it looks different. Sometimes the bird song will change, or the weather will be less bleak. Or that person who nodded at you yesterday doesn't do it today. But it doesn't usually change. You need a tragic event for change. Like a murder.
Okay, and we have his connection to murder now. What tragic event?
I didn't see the driver. It was my fault. I pulled out and the lorry just rammed me. Well, Hannah. She was sat next to me. I was in shock, obviously. And when I came to, she was so close to me. It was like she was trying to hug me. But it wasn't right. Not natural. Bits of metal pushing through her. That was 5 years ago.
Okay, so 5 years ago, he witnessed a car accident or caused a car accident. What do you know about the murder? Are you here because of an accident? And who is Hannah? 5 years ago was a long time. Who is Hannah?
My fiancée. My childhood sweetheart.
Oh.
We met at secondary school. She was head girl. I was the quiet one.
Okay.
She liked computer games, so I instantly fell for her.
Yeah.
I proposed in Goldshire. She said she didn't date elves, so I leveled up to a human necromancer and asked again. Sorry, it's Warcraft. We spent a lot of time on there.
Now, I can't connect with that story personally, but I did used to know a guy who hated my guts because I was still an obnoxious, shitty little teenager when I knew him. But he owned a comic book store, and I overheard him telling to a customer the story of how he proposed to his wife with a Green Lantern ring. So yeah, no, I do have love for the nerd compatibility. Absolutely. Are you here because of an accident? Are you here because of an accident?
I've been shrunk for that already. If I had that day again, I wouldn't make the same mistake. Hannah would still be alive. We'd probably have a family by now. I haven't had any relationships since then.
I see. So he's wrapped by an inability to move on. What do you know about the murder? 5 years is a long time ago.
I was fine for quite a while after the accident. Well, being treated for depression. I thought I was cured. It was only recently after meeting Dr. Decker that I had a strange deja vu. I'm exhausted. Doctor, is our time up?
All right. So right now, what he's going through are the 5 stages of grief, and this is not. Okay. So denial, anger, bargaining. I'm trying to remember the other. Depression, acceptance. Okay. So generally speaking, when so he already feels uncomfortable about it. You ask, 5 years is a long time ago, so he was in denial for a very long time. That's what he feels fine. He wasn't fine at all. He was most likely going through the denial phase, and then became angry, or is becoming angry now, perhaps, which could involve him in the murder a bit, which I'm actually quite interested in. What do you know about the murder?
Dr. Decker's murder was sudden, brutal. It's terrible. But Doctor, 2 weeks. 2 weeks I had of rolling days. No do-overs. No Monday. I wouldn't kill anyone, though. I'd have to keep doing it, wouldn't I? Few things seem to move me forward.
Fair enough. To me, he's... Okay, so... Let's see. Because I'm trying to think, because to me, this either reeks of the denial or depression stage, where he's stuck in this kind of malaise. Or perhaps he has already gone through all 5 stages of grief, and he just doesn't know what to do with his life now. The whole world seems like nothing to him. He's experiencing the defeat that comes from victory, so to speak. He's experiencing nihilism. I mean, I've tried to mention nihilism with each of these 4 patients before, but with him, it's more direct. It is nihilism. Tell me about Decker.
Dr. Decker was a complex man. I spent a lot of time with him, but he won't remember it that way.
Okay. Why was Decker complex? Why wouldn't he remember it that way?
As far as Dr. Decker was concerned, we had Monday, then moved on to Tuesday. But me, I had Monday 5, 10, 50 times before I got to Tuesday.
What does he mean by that? What's this? This is if I want to continue on. Why was Decker complex?
I saw the conflict that Dr. Decker was going through. Let's just say you might look back on your life and think there's nothing you would have done differently. No 2 days were alike for him in the end. Like he couldn't decide what to do with himself.
All right, and that reeks of... The reason I mentioned Yith earlier, those are the beings that switch places in terms of like minds with people continuously to learn about their cultures, and they go back to their home world, which is like a giant organic library land. And they're basically telepathy nerds. So that's part of it. So Dr. Decker could have been a myth. You live the same day over and over again?
I watched that Bill Murray film, Groundhog Day, to see if there's any clues. To see if there's any clues. That's how bad it's gotten. I'm looking for a cure in a Hollywood movie. Can you help me, Doctor?
Oh, he was being a lot more literal when he said Monday. Why couldn't Decker decide what to do? Yes, I will try to help you.
I don't know how, but thank you, Doctor. This is our first time around, and I trust you.
So is it that he's locked in a series of time loops where he repeats specifically Monday over and over again? Why couldn't Decker decide what to do?
He was like a kid in a sweet shop. He had so many options, he didn't know what to do. I suppose if you take too long picking, all your options run away.
Interesting. You mentioned a montage. You played Warcraft with Hannah. Can you go back and save Hannah? Oh, that would be... yeah, no, that would be a reason for the delusion if he can't move on. If he still can't move on, and then he's trapped back in that, again, would be a cause for psychosis. All of these people also seem to be related to what is ultimately a very Lovecraftian setting, whatever part of the UK we're in. And then in addition to that, we see a man who possibly could have a break from reality due to trauma. You mentioned a montage.
Most of my days a blur. I'm not sure if it's the sleeping tablets I'm on or just how I've learned to switch off.
All right. You're on sleeping tablets?
I'm on temazepam. Dr. Decker prescribed them for me. He thought I would sleep through to a whole new day. I didn't.
You played Warcraft with Hannah?
We played World of Warcraft a lot together. I guess it's not the cool thing to do anymore. But we had a lot of memories there. To be honest, it reminds me a lot of life now. The same thing over and over again. Bring me X bunnies to make a stew. Y badger teeth. Rinse, repeat. Maybe I'm just grinding life.
That's a t-shirt and a half. All right. Why are you grinding life instead of using the grind to life?
I'm not really fit for work anymore. I work in produce at the local supermarket.
Yeah, I feel that.
That mainly involves lifting heavy crates of fruit and veg into place for people to buy, and doing that over and over again. My muscles don't seem to have grown much. I think that maybe I'm not aging. When the day resets, I just reset with it. I used to be a builder.
Used to be a builder. You don't think you're aging?
I'm 57.
You're 57.
Kidding. Just if you spent the whole day at the gym and then repeat that day and not go, you'd have achieved nothing.
All right. Can you... Yeah, this is the thing. One of the reasons I wanted to ask the Warcraft question before the can you go back and save Hannah question is that I wanted to see if the Warcraft stuff had anything to do with time travel or their plot line had anything to do with time travel. Can you go back and save Hannah?
No. I can't move backwards any more than a day. I don't really seem to control it. It's generally always on. I have to try and change something to move forward.
My friends at the SCP would like to talk to you. But no, I understand that now. Perhaps I should ask someone else a question. Ask someone else a question. Did we get all these? Did we get all of them from everybody? Ask somebody else a question. Ask somebody else a question. Bryce, my boy, somebody else a question. Okay, seems like we can continue. Are you sure? Yeah, I've gotten through everything I can. And it's recorded, so if I really need it, I can go back to it.
Oh, Doctor, glad I caught you. I thought you might want to hear what Ben had to say. Quick catch up?
Jaya, and then what I'm hoping is that I can just let me look up how to save game in the infectious mind of Dr. Decker. But how do I save it? How do I save the game? How many? Oh, it has 5 acts. How do I save it? How do I save the game? Menu. Okay.